Hello again, everyone. It's me, MadameMacabre, and this is gonna be a big ol' hot mess. As you may have noticed, I am currently dressed like Jeff the Killer. In my last video, I did a makeup tutorial. You guys voted, that's what you wanted to see, so here we are. It was a big old mess to get into, so I thought, hey, let's, do something else while we're in this makeup. And what else would be more appropriate than having a little discussion about Jeff the Killer while dressed as Jeff the Killer. So as far as this video goes, I'm going to break it down into a couple categories that I'm going to look at and give my thoughts on. Now, before I start, I just want to let you know, these are just my opinions. I am not an absolute authority on creepypasta in general or Jeff the Killer's creepypasta. Just my opinions. You're allowed to disagree. We're all cool. Good? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to look at is the story itself. Now, I know in recent times, tons of people just love to rag on this story. And they do got a point. It's not a well-written story. When you break it down and look at it, it's bad. The story's bad. That being said, however, I don't think Jeff is a bad character. I think there's a lot of things that make him very interesting to people, and there's a reason so many people got attached to him and he got so big. I also think it's not right to discount the story and rag on it so much when you consider what it actually did for creepypasta and online horror in general. Yes, the story was not good, but it helped the community boom and grow and become well known, and without it, we wouldn't be where we are, so I do think in that regard it does deserve some respect. So yeah, you're not really gonna see many people arguing that it isn't a bad story, but there are things that are likable about it. I think Jeff's an interesting character, despite a poorly written story. He's got an interesting enough backstory. He's enough of a blank canvas that you can project a lot of things into him, and I think he really appeals to a younger audience who are going through emotional, hormonal, just tough times in general. They can latch onto this character and help them express themselves creatively. Now, one of the biggest criticisms I've seen in late for the character is that there are a lot of fangirls who are really in love with him. They draw pictures of him looking really pretty. You can even argue that, like, the style I did my makeup in is a lot less monstrous and grotesque than some people like to see him in. And honestly, there's no right answer as to which way Jeff should look. It's entirely up to your interpretation. Really, you can project whatever you want into it. If you want a nasty, gross, like, charred up crispy critter Jeff, go for it. That's awesome if you want to do something more like this, or if you even want to make it even cleaner or prettier, there's nothing wrong with that. I know some people get really angry when they see pretty boy emo Jeff, but the thing is, it's not actually hurting anyone. And I know some people will say, oh, but it is doing disrespect to the source material, he's not meant to be like that. Didn't we just establish that the source material was garbo? How are you gonna disrespect something you already admitted you think is garbage? Okay, and besides that, do you think creepypasta is somehow special from all other forms of entertainment and that it gets a free pass from the thirsty fangirls? 'Cause honey, if so, you got a big storm coming. There is not a single fandom and community I can think of that doesn't turn fan favorite characters into something that they're not because they think it's eye candy and they want to oogle it. It happens everywhere. And you can be like, oh, well, it makes it less scary. I can't enjoy it as scary when they're making it sexy. Look at the broader horror community as a whole. You know how many people that want to bang that goddamn sewer clown, but then how many people are still scared crapless of him? I have seen people be extremely thirsty over Jason Voorhees in his rotten zombie form. They draw shipping artwork, they draw him in suggestive poses. People are gonna fetishize monsters. Have you not seen the monster community? There are people that will fetishize them in their monstrous glory. No matter what you do, people are gonna have a thirst for these things, but that doesn't mean other people aren't still going to be able to enjoy them as the horrific content they are. And let's be entirely honest here. There's nothing unusual or strange about this. edgy high schoolers have always clung on to these dark, scary killer type characters. It's just a normal thing. For God's sake, when I was in middle school, I was in love with Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my life.
This isn't anything new. We have so much edge, so many hormones. It's natural. What else do you expect of a poor little baby bat? Fly off, little gothlings, chase your fictional killers. Wouldn't you rather them chase the fictional killers than those weirdos that go for the real ones? I'm sorry, but true crime is where I'll draw the line. I'm all cool. If you are in love with a fictional bad guy, whatever. Just, real serial killers, honey, please, don't cross that line, okay? So honestly, don't be too concerned with, the kiddos being in love with these spooky characters. It's just a phase. Not all of us will grow out of the goth phase, but the being in love with fictional murderers, that is a phase, and that will go away. Having an interest in these spooky, dark, scary, antisocial things isn't always a warning sign that somebody's totally messed up or anything. A lot of the time, with young teenagers in particular, they've got a lot of feelings and emotions and hormones and things going around in their head, and they don't really know how to process it, and they're not always in the best place or the best physical situation with family and friends and lots of factors in their life. And if projecting into fictional media, writing comics, writing stories, doing drawings, and fantasizing about having this alter ego life where they're in love with this crazy character, it's helping them cope with their life. And for a lot of people, it is just a natural part of their teens that they have to go through, and it helps them balance out, grow out of it when they're older, become more well-adjusted, and a lot of the time they'll look back at that phase in their life and be very embarrassed, but at least they can find comfort in the fact that there are tons of other teens that went through the exact same thing. And finally, circling back to one thing I sort of touched on before, the design and the way the character looks. I've seen a lot of discourse in the community over how Jeff is supposed to look, and the answer is he can look however you want him to. I'm sorry, a lot of people aren't going to want to hear that, but he can look however you interpret him. Long hair, short hair, no nose with the nose, eyebrows, no eyebrows, like an emo pretty boy, or like an absolute grizzled, charred, crusty boy. Every interpretation is right. And while I was a bit younger, I may have had more strong opinions on one or the other. Now that I'm older and looking at this, it just doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal and it has that much of an impact. Because at the end of the day, if there are some people who choose to represent the character in a really pretty boy way that's less scary or whatever, it's not going to affect the original material. It's not going to affect any material you put out there or you like. It's just more Jeff the Killer content that is available to enjoy. And yes, I can understand the people who don't like seeing him prettified or whatever. They just want to see him as a monster and they want to see him scary because they just purely like horror and they don't want any of this other stuff. And I get that. That is a valid way to think and believe. I was kind of like that when I was younger as well. But at the same time, you can still like and enjoy what you like without being nasty and dismissive of people who like it a different way. We can all get along with our own interpretations. Also, people who like Pretty Boy Jeff, don't be nasty to artists who do the grody, crusty interpretations. Don't tell them, he doesn't look like that. He's supposed to have eyebrows. He's supposed to do that. Just like you don't want them telling you that he's a dumb pretty boy in the way you do it, they don't want to hear you insulting their crusty man, okay? Basically, it all boils down to this. I think Jeff the Killer, while not being a well-written story, is a significant story that did a lot of good for the online horror community and therefore deserves a level of respect for that. I think Jeff is a fascinating character and I can understand why many people take interest in him. I think it's fun to imagine any number of interpretations for how this character could look, and I like that you are free to create your own story, your own design, whatever you want for it if you so choose. It opens up a lot of doorways to creativity and imagination, especially for young people who are just starting to explore this. And finally, I think there are no wrong answers to how you want to express this character. You just gotta be nice to each other. And really, as long as nobody's bullying each other over fictional homicidal maniacs, we Gucci. Alright guys, I see the battery light literally flashing its death throes, so I have to go now. But I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I will catch you all with something else new later. And until then, remember, stay creepy.